What's up, everybody? It's your girl, absolutely April. I'm here for a recap on Married at First Sight. You know, I try to get my Married at First Sight in on Thursdays, but didn't make it. However, I do have some thoughts about episode 5. It was kind of lackluster, but I do have some points I do want to hit on. So let's not, belabor the point. Let's go ahead and get into the reaction, my reaction. Let's get into everything that happened because Eris is problematic. I'm just gonna put that out there. But before we start, I want to say welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I do recaps on reality shows, TV shows, movies, whatever that's kind of on my heart. I come on here and share with you all. So if you're on that vibe, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you like Married at First Sight, if you like anything that I say, if you agree with me, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to be notified about all of my videos that's coming up, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified about all of my uploads when I upload it. You won't be you will be basically the first to be notified when I send, when I get out, and so you can kind of get my thoughts almost in real time. Hopefully I can get to lives, but definitely go ahead, share if you know someone who likes Married at First Sight. It will be so helpful to my channel. So let's go ahead and get into it because I don't want to keep going through all of that because you know how it is. You're not new to YouTube. So go ahead. We're on day 1 of the honeymoon, and Kirsten and Shaquille finally make it to Jamaica. So Kirsten y'all know from the last episode, Kirsten was kind of thrown off because, Shaquille kind of popped it on her that she would have to go to Mississippi to help him or to be with him while he does something for school. So she wasn't feeling that, but now they're in Jamaica. Thank God. So Jasmine and Eris, they're talking about snorkeling later on in the day. Gina and Clint, they're going on an excursion. And Nicole and Chris, at this point, they're eating breakfast and they're talking about being able to be vulnerable about their past with each other. But Nicole wants to make sure they get to know each other, before they can make a decision like decision day. So I don't know why Nicole is even talking about decision day at this point. Enjoy the honeymoon. Let's not even get into decision day, but I know that's something that's always looming on Married at First Sight. So Jasmine is eating breakfast again. In the last episode, Jasmine was eating breakfast and Eris had to point out that she was eating swine, also known as bacon. And he says it again. I'm like, stay out of her plate, Eris. If you don't like bacon, then just be quiet. Let her enjoy her breakfast in peace without you picking and saying stuff about what she's eating. Does anyone else find that annoying? That is annoying to me. Do not be picking around on my food. If you don't like it, keep it to yourself. Like, that's just annoying to me. So he again brings up the fact that she is eating bacon every day. And she said, well, I don't eat it every day. He was like, well, you ate it this day, that day, this day. Eris, shut up. Nobody cares. Is anybody talking about what you eating every day? Is anybody talking about that? So stop worrying about what Jasmine eating. If she don't have high blood pressure, if it doesn't affect her diet, then let her eat in peace. Like, he seems like he's going to be a nitpicky jerk, and I can't stand it. So they start talking about Eris and Jasmine. They started talking about, what was the issues in your previous relationship? So Jasmine, so Eris said, he was immature. You still are. He said he's immature. He was immature and kind of made he kind of gave up on the situation. Once he saw a red flag, he was kind of out. He didn't really stick and stay in any relationships. So Jasmine says that, she was the one to walk away in her relationships. But I don't know about that, Jasmine. I feel like they had to walk away on you because you are such a nurturer and you're a giver. So I don't know if you were the one that walks away. And plus you said you were, doing your interviews, that you kind of set them up for the next relationship. So I don't know if you were the one that walked away, but she said she was. So we're going to go with what Jasmine says. So she said another thing was that her schedule was a big factor. And you know that she got like 50 million jobs. She's a breeder. She does cheerleading. She does other things. So she does do a lot. So that also caused issues in her previous relationships. So Aries, he does say, now I will give him 10 cool points on this, where he says that, he wouldn't mind helping her and be supportive, even if he got to walk her 20 dogs. He still has to throw in the dog situation. Or if he needs to go and sit with her mom, because I don't know if you all remember, her mother has breast cancer and she's going through chemo. So that's very stressful. If anybody out there knows, if they've been a caretaker before, you know that it can be stressful being a caretaker. So I think that, just Aries saying that he's going to be supportive if she needs anything, help her, sit with her mom, because she said, she can be in chemo for hours. So just being that show of support, I think that's going to mean the world to Jasmine. Hopefully he does what he says he's going to do, and helps out, with her mom, or just be that, that strong support system that she may need, because watching your mom go through that has to be hard. I know I've had family members that went through that, and it's a difficult ordeal, and the caretakers take on a lot of the burden because they're trying to, to help, and they're trying to be strong, and sometimes they don't have that outlet. So Jasmine will definitely need that outlet from Aries to kind of keep things light, and just when she wants to retreat, that he can be just a safe space for her. Hopefully he will, because now he keep picking on her eating bacon, and she is not a safe space for her to eat breakfast. So I don't know, we'll see. So Jasmine did say that she tends to shut down when she's dealing with the stress of her mom. So like I said, I hope Aries can be a safe space for her and not kind of, be added on to the stress and piling on. So we're moving on to Dominique and McKinley. Y'all know I call her Dom, but Dominique and McKinley. Dominique says this is her first time out of the country. And that always baffles me when people say that, but I do have to remember she's like 25. So yeah, she says this is her first time out of the country. And so she's liking it thus far. She's taking a shower outside. I guess they have those type of villas or, rooms where they have a shower on the outside. So she says she feels like I'm in a Pantene commercial. So far, so good, it appears. I think she did say that, there was a little bit of snoring from McKinley, but it wasn't too bad. So I feel like she's trying to keep a positive front. I don't think she likes McKinley that much, but I think she's trying to push through at this point. She said they did talk about, they cuddled a little bit. However, the body pillow is still present. I don't know why you would bring a body pillow on your honeymoon. I had a body pillow when I was pregnant because that was the only way I could be comfortable. So I don't know, maybe it's a security type thing for her. Who knows? But that's kind of like a downer to me. If someone puts a body pillow in the middle of us and we're trying to get to know each other, that's kind of like, you want that buffer. You don't want me up, on you. But I think they did say that, she put it over to the side so they were able to cuddle a little bit. So Kirsten, we're on to Kirsten and Shaquille. They arrived, of course, to Jamaica, like I said. Kirsten said she was happy to support him. Shaquille felt really good because she was there, because he's always kind of done things alone. And just to have that support system and somebody rooting him on made him feel very, very good. He now realizes that he needed somebody in his life. And, that's a big thing, when, just having someone there that you know is supporting you, is rooting for you, is loving you, that means the world. And that's one of the biggest things I enjoy being married, was that support system. I gave him support when he was going through school, and he also supported me just, you know, in various things. And, you know, just talking about some of my dreams that I had, he was always there as a support system when I needed time away, or, you know, just some me time. It was never a problem. You know, we kind of bounced off each other. So just having that, you know, that support system, it does mean the world. So I definitely feel you, Shaquille, on that. So Gina and Clint, now they're traveling to their excursion. They've been traveling at least an hour and a half. This excursion was supposed to be like 45 minutes to and from. They've been traveling an hour and a half, been making stops, getting lost, all types of stuff. So Gina, seems like she was kind of over it, but she was trying to keep a positive attitude. And I know about that. Quick story time. I went to Lake Tahoe and we were riding on a buddy pass, and we end up having to take so many detours because if you know anything about a buddy pass, it kind of goes on first come, first serve, and how many years you been with Delta or something like that. So if anybody came in that had more years with Delta, then they would kind of trump you. It was a hot mess, but it got to the point where, you know, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive. Then once they kept going, you were like, okay, now I'm over it. So that's kind of what the feel I was getting from Gina. She was like, you know, I try to be positive, but now I'm kind of getting over the situation. But they were kind of like in the sticks of Jamaica. And when I say sticks, like the jungle, they were kind of like, they were definitely far away from their resort. They were out there. So Clint says, you know, he feels like his organs could be harvested wherever they were. So yeah, it probably looked a little sketchy a little bit. So I applaud both of them for trying to, you know, keep a positive attitude when you're going through that, because it's so easy to snap off on somebody, on your driver or somebody, because things are not going the way you expected. So yeah, so now Dom and McKinley, they're going sailing, and it appears, and McKinley seems like he's kind of skittish, and you know that Dominique is looking for like an adventurous type guy, somebody she can kind of be rough and tumble with. And McKinley might not be that guy. I thought since he worked in construction, maybe he would, but he's not. That he's very scary. So he seemed very timid about getting on the ocean heat, getting on the little sailboat and stuff like that. It was, I guess, and I could see where Dominique was coming from, because you kind of like, dude, like, stop being so scary. You expect the man to kind of be a little bit more of the leader. And I feel like that's what she wants, is a guy to kind of lead and kind of matches her energy, where she's, you know, she's kind of free. And I think she wants somebody who's probably, you know, just as free or more. And McKinley is definitely not that. He's very cautious. He could, if she said, I don't want to get on, he'd probably like, all right, let's go type guy. You know, he definitely didn't want to do it. He's a little bit more skittish when it comes to adventure. So that's one of the things that Dominique says. He appears to be closed-minded, and I think that's going to be a point of contention for them coming up. So Kirsten and Shaquille, they end up going ATV riding. And so Kirsten has a need for speed, and Shaquille not so much. And it comes from the fact that he, you know, had that horrible accident when he was 7 years old and he was thrown from a car. So he's a little bit more cautious. And I was thinking as he was doing it, I was like, I'm pretty sure like after that happened that, you know, the people, you know, the parents, grandparents in his life probably, you know, were a little bit like, don't do this, don't do that, because of certain things, and not wanting him to get injured, and kind of making him, you know, kind of cautious about anything he does. And it can happen. PTSD is a real thing. So you really, stuff like that can probably trigger you. And but he pushed through. Kirsten was not, she was not thinking about his whole situation. She had the need for speed and she was out. She left him in her dust. He was like, you know, kind of like hesitant and probably going like 30 miles an hour while she was going like 60 miles an hour. So Kirsten wanted to have fun. Shaquille, I'm pretty sure he would have been down for it, but he just that whole situation, I guess, you know, it kind of replays in your mind, and you don't want to do anything to cause you to get, you know, severely injured again. So yeah, I think they both had a good time, but Kirsten probably would have liked him to be a little bit more involved. But given the circumstances, I know it's understandable. But it kind of put me in the mindset. Do y'all remember last season with Nate and Stasha? Stasha was more along the lines of Shaquille, and she was a little bit more cautious, and Nate was out. Nate left Stasha in his dust. And so it's kind of the same way, but, you know, flip in reverse. So Kirsten says she's looking at Shaquille a little different. So I guess he's warming up on her. And she's proud that he definitely tried to do ATV riding, even given the circumstances. So I feel like there's a little warming up with Kirsten, a little bit warming up, but I'm not totally convinced either. So meanwhile, Clint and Gina, while everybody's enjoying their time together, Clint and Gina are still on this excursion trying to get to a waterfall. It's like a bad movie. Like everybody else is, you know, having a good time on the water, drinking, whatever, and they're still trying to get to this excursion, going through all these twists and turns and bumps in the jungle. And I don't know if it's jungle in Jamaica, but that's what it looked like. It looked like a jungle. And it got to the point where a storm was coming. A storm was brewing. So it was like on top of them riding, it's probably hot. On the after party, Gina said that their luggage was, you know, lost for like 3 days. So they didn't have their luggage. They didn't have, you know, the excursion is taking longer than expected. It's hot. You know, you can tell she's not that into Clint, and maybe vice versa for Clint as well. So I'm like, that's a lot of stress on a situation. Like I can see someone popping off. They did good for not popping off on each other. And all I can say is kudos, because I don't know if I did the same thing. So Jasmine and Eris, you know, are about to go snorkeling. Jasmine feels like Eris looks good with his shirt off. She's like, her man is fine. Okay, girl, we're gonna go with that. He's fine. So Gina and Clint finally make it to their excursion, and then on top of that, all their riding, getting lost, they have to hike for 2 miles in the Jamaican heat to the waterfall. Yeah, I don't know if I would have been in the best of mood, y'all. Comment down below. Some people are just into it, and you know, but I know all of that with losing a luggage, not, you know, just kind of feeling out of sorts. You're with this person you really don't know, but you're trying to make the best of it, and you might not be that attracted to them. That is a lot. So like I said, I take my hats off to them. They made it, and they didn't get into any arguments. So the waterfall is very beautiful. They kind of wade in the water a little bit. Clint, you know, does tell Gina, you know, that he's happy that, you know, she stayed calm throughout the situation. Despite what was happening, their tempers didn't get the best of them. And he says he can't wait to see her in her boss lady type mode. So Gina, you know, Gina's a boss. That's one of the things she loves to talk about, her business. So he can't wait to see her in that mode. Be careful what you ask for, Clint. Be careful what you ask for, because you're gonna probably want her to stop after a while. I can see Clint like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to hear this. You know, let's have fun type of situation. So moving on to Nicole and Chris, they go rum tasting on the beach. And it's not just, you know how when you go wine tasting, you swish it around in your mouth and spit it out in a little bucket. No, this wine tasting was basically a bunch of shots of rum, all different types of rum. All the rum in Jamaica, they are taking shots. Nicole and Chris are taking shots. Like, I would be on my behind taking all those shots. I'm not a good shot girl. So I might have sipped a little bit and I would have had to put it up. That would have been too much. But Nicole, who looks like she's probably like 4'11", maybe 5 feet tall, she was taking those shots like a G. I mean, she was taking those shots back. And then she told Chris, like, this puts me in mindset of old Nicole when I was out in the parties, going to the clubs, getting drunk and partying and being selfish. So, I think that might have rubbed Chris a little bit the wrong way, because he says he wouldn't have liked old Nicole if that was the case, that they met at that point in time, because he just doesn't like people who are selfish. And we know that, Chris is a really good guy. He has a really good heart and he seems to be very patient, but he said that right there, he would not have liked. And he takes him a lot to get frustrated. So Nicole asked him, does it bother you that I might get frustrated a little bit more easier than you? And he said he didn't know. I thought that was a very good answer, because it was honest and it was genuine. Like, I don't know, how I'm going to feel about it, because, he has to see, how this is going to continue to transpire between them. Hopefully it stays on the right direction, because Nicole, I feel like she likes him. They like each other. But I don't know if Chris's niceness would kind of get on her nerves at some point in time. So we're going to see. Like I said, I'm rooting for this couple. I like them. However, I don't know if Nicole's emotions will end up getting on Chris's nerves, and Chris's niceness will end up getting on her nerves in the end. So we're going to see. So moving on to Chris, Kirsten, and Shaquille. Kirsten, they get on like one of those little egg swings where, you can get in. It looks like a little egg. And she says that, she's tired after ATV riding. Shaquille says he wants to go work out. Kirsten is not trying to go, which I don't blame you. Like, I'm here to have fun. I'm not here to kind of like work out. Although I know it's good to kind of keep your normal routine. Kirsten is not trying to have it. I'm just trying to have a good time. And Shaquille says that he's attracted to her and he still gets butterflies when he sees her. But Kirsten, being the curve queen she is, she basically was like, you're growing on me. Most wives would probably think that, Kirsten, no, most wives don't think like my husband is growing on me. Maybe wives in the Married at First Sight thing, but most wives don't feel like my husband is growing on me. So yeah, she says he's growing on her, and she wasn't attracted to his bald head. So it kind of throws Shaquille off. But he said, in the end, he tells himself that, says that physical attraction can grow. And I kind of agree with him. But I don't know if Kirsten seems like a person who's kind of set on what she wants. And if it does not meet those standards, I don't know if she's going to relax those standards. On paper, like I said, they look good together, but the physical attraction on Kirsten's part is not there. But she does kind of cozy up to him a little bit. She, leans on him. I think she might hold his hand. She even gave him like little words, like she says, honey and baby. And I've heard her say those little things. So I think she's warming up. But sometimes she has to let those walls down and allow the physical attraction or the baldness in the head, his baldness to kind of like not deter. He's an overall attractive guy. He just has a bald head and he keeps it nice and trimmed. He said his teeth are clean, all of those things. So, if having a bald head is going to be your biggest issue, I don't think in the end of the day, that's an issue at all. But who am I to tell her what her standards are? So they both agree that they love physical touch. That's their love language. So that should be great for them. That they should be able to touch each other. But I don't know when they're going to ever kiss. Kirsten says, she likes this when he kisses her on the forehead, but she's not big on kissing. She even says that she's not a good kisser. I doubt it, Kirsten. I doubt you're not a good kisser. You just don't. You don't want to kiss him. That's what it's coming off as. You don't want to kiss him, and you trying to kind of make him feel like, oh, I don't kiss good. I don't like kissing. Yes, I think you do. You like intimacy, but you just are not there yet with him. And I think you just need to pull the Band-Aid off and just kiss him. Maybe the sparks will start flying for you. You never know. He might be a great kiss. You probably like, oh, you were working with that? Like, kind of get out your comfort zone a little bit, Kirsten. Come on now. But Shaquille says he's patient and he's going to keep going, keep putting putting himself out there. But I think he is afraid, because Kirsten did ask if he's afraid to kiss her. And, I think he might be a little bit, timid on doing that. And he doesn't want to run her off completely by being aggressive. So he's trying to be a gentleman. But Shaquille, you're going to have to kind of like make some moves and being okay with get rejected if you get rejected. But yeah, you're gonna have to get Nicole out of her comfort zone. So on to Clint and Gina. Gina says, she needs someone who is supportive. And she says in her previous relationships, the men were intimidated by her success and, the things that she was doing in her business. Yeah, she's said that before, so we'll see. I want to. The verdict is still out on Gina. I want to see if she's just bossy, if that's the case, because a lot of men don't mind a woman who has her own. It's just, when you try to come home and boss him around. So I can't wait to see a little bit more of Gina, but I like her. She reminds me of Kristen on the previous cycle, Kristen with a Y. Shout out to Miss Misha. So Jasmine and Eris, they're eating dinner on the beach. Nice, lovely setting. It looks beautiful. So, Jasmine's food comes, Eris' food comes. So Eris sees Jasmine food, and thank God there's no bacon on her plate. But she has some nice, succulent lobster tails. And guess what Eris asked? He said he loves her food and he wants her to feed him. Now, y'all remember last episode where he asked her to feed him the grapes. Now, I don't mind catering to my man. I don't mind catering to my man. Let me cater to you, because baby, this is your day. All of that. I don't mind catering for my man, but I don't want to have to feed you every time. Like, what's going on? Like, you feed me, do something for me. What you do for me? So he she feeds him the lobster tail, and this Negro, I'm sorry, this dude, he did not even, he told her to you reach over here, you come over to me. I mean, you want my lobster tail, you come over here to me and get some. You lean over. Why do I always have to make the move? Me and Eris would not get along. We would be up there arguing the whole time. I mean, the whole time we would probably be arguing. So she asked, what do you want? What else do you want to know about me? What's your favorite sexual position? So Jasmine gets kind of embarrassed and flustered. And I can understand that because, she knows her, at the end of the day, she knows she's on the show. Family is watching. And it's, she really don't know this guy to just start, getting into those type of conversations with. So she's kind of a little like timid to talk about it, want to be a little bit modest. And she doesn't, then he asks her what her favorite color is. So of all the things that you can ask her, you ask her favorite color. So she says lavender, and then he tries to bring it back to sex, even though he knows that it made her feel uncomfortable. He brings it back. He said, well, people who like lavender like the downward dog position in sex and yoga. I'm like, read the room. She don't want to talk about it. And then, he said, Jasmine says, she's just modest and she doesn't really like to talk about sex like that. And he said, and then he says, he in the confession that he could be a sex mentor for her and all of that. Now, let me tell y'all, I don't know if y'all know anybody who usually talks about sex the way that Aries likes to talk about sex, they usually ain't working with nothing. Because it's like when you got that BDE, that big energy, it kind of exudes. You don't have to keep saying what you got, what you're working with. You don't have to keep saying it because it's understood. You can kind of get like, you can kind of see like that he working with something. I don't know exactly what it is, but he working with something. It's a swag that they have, and you don't have that Aries you too. You try to keep putting it out there like you this, you that, you this, you that, and I don't think you all of that. You might be having a good time, but your partner might not. You probably a selfish lover. He probably very selfish. Ugh. So Aries then says, yeah, you real classy. And she's like, yeah, I'm classy. And then he said, but I need a whore. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I get the whole lady in the sheets and the freak in the streets. I get that. And I understand it very much so. But Aries, like you just met her. Y'all like 2-3 days in. Like ease up, bro. Like get to know her on a personal level. Right now, you just you're coming off like that's all you want from Jasmine is her to be laid up in the bed, and when you come home, then she could be your sex slave. Like that's what you're giving off. You're not even trying to get to know her personally and get to know who she is as a woman. You just want to smash. That's all you want to do. But then you get on the after party and say she ain't your type. But I bet Dominique is. Catch that tea, because I did notice their chemistry with each other on the last after party. Check that out if y'all can. But that last after party, that chemistry between Dominique and Aries, I got my eye on y'all. I definitely got my eye on y'all. So moving on. So Clint and Gina feels like he and Gina kind of click. But Gina does say that she doesn't really feel the chemistry between them. And Clint says, I feel the same way. So I don't know. I don't know if Clint said that because she said it, but he said he feels the same way. Or maybe he feels that their chemistry together is not really clicking. But Gina says, she feels that the attraction can grow, and she will continue to stay open-minded. Clint does, say that he's disappointed to hear, what Gina's saying so early on in the relationship. I think that, Clint he sees himself as a ladies' man, and I guess he thought that Gina was just going to drop her drawers for him, and she was going to be head over heels for him. And that's just not the case right now. She says she likes tall, dark, and handsome. So she doesn't really vibe with redheads and people with gingery features. And in the after party, she basically said those are people like with freckles, that little their reddish skin tone. She don't really vibe with that kind of stuff. So she's not really that attracted to Clint, unfortunately. So now Dom and McKinley, they're on their way to dinner. And I just want to say, Dominique, you cannot walk in heels. I need you to learn how to walk in heels. She's falling all over the place in the heels. And then just by the way she was walking like a linebacker in the heels. So Dominique is a tomboy through and through. So I get it. Dominique lets McKinley know that she's proud that he pushed through today and got on the sailboat, even when she could tell that he wasn't totally comfortable. And so McKinley says, I want to be pushed. So they talk about fishing and everything. She was like, am I gonna have to bait your hook? And he was like, no, I could do it. I don't know, Dominique. I think you might have to bait his hook. He seems very green when it comes to that country Dominique, you know, I said in my short, I've been watching Yellowstone. Dominique need a Yellowstone type guy because that's what she's looking for. She's looking for a whole cowboy like Alyssa was 2 seasons ago. She is looking for some type of cowboy. That ain't McKinley. That is not. McKinley is a little bit, he likes to do other things. Like he probably likes the more finer things versus the rougher things in life. So McKinley said before he feels like he's a jokester and he's funny. So Dominique doesn't feel like she even understands his joke. Like his joke completely kind of flies over her head. And I think that could be a testament to their age gap. Again, McKinley is almost 10 years older than Dominique. So I think that his form of humor is funny to him, but it just does not resonate with Dominique. So she's kind of like giving him the little half-hearted laugh. Like she's giving him them type of laugh. Like it ain't really funny, but I'm going to appease you because I don't want to make you feel crazy because your jokes are not landing. So McKinley says he is looking for someone to ground him. And Dominique kind of lies. She playing in our face talking about she couldn't ask for a better match so far. Yes, you could. You want a more masculine kind. You want a cowboy. You want that type of guy. So stop playing in our face, Dominique. So Nicole and Chris, they're out of their dinner, and so Nicole asked Chris if he loves her yet, and he said, I can't say I love you yet. Thank you for being honest, Chris. And you didn't make the same mistake as Alexis and Justin when he said, I love you already, and he doing all that daggone crying last season. So yeah, so I'm glad Chris was being honest. He says he doesn't love her yet. So Chris then asked about kids, and she says she never really saw herself with kids. She could take it or leave it, but Chris says he envisions his life with 2 kids, at least 2 kids. So that is going to be an issue as well. But a lot of times, women, once feelings get into it and you start really loving that person, you do kind of see a family. We all know that Nicole has some bad relationships prior to, so that may be why children have never been on the radar for her. She, the more she gets comfortable with Chris, it may kind of turn around for him. But Nicole saying that, she felt like kids could interfere with her career. I don't remember what she does. I don't think she is like a high-powered attorney or anything. So I don't see where kids would be a big issue, especially if you have a partner who is going to take, be your teammate and take some of the pressure off of you. Mothers, we have a different type of pressure. We're thinking about taking care of our house, our man, or, your partner. You're in that mode all the time. So sometimes men are oblivious to everything that we do, but I think that Chris is going to be a good partner for her. They just have to have a good communication between the both of them. I don't see where where he wouldn't help her. And I don't feel like the brunt of raising the children would be on her. So I don't feel like it would interfere with her career, but I don't know what she's trying to do in life. So Dominique and McKinley, they get in the pool and they're flirty. She got her hand around him, and they're hugging and kissing, and he's joking around with her, and she's still doing that little fake laugh. I don't think she finds it that funny. On to Kirsten and Shaquille. Kirsten asked Shaquille to kind of. No, Shaquille is asking Kirsten to open up more, but Kirsten did say that since the pandemic, it just made her more introverted. Like she kind of closed off since the pandemic. But she does say she does need emotional support from him, and she wants their conversations to be a little bit more natural. She says in their conversation, it kind of seems like he's just telling her what he feels like she wants to hear, and she wants him to kind of be a little bit more natural versus kind of like forced conversation. Like, let's just talk about, did you see Martin last night? Or you remember when Martin did this? Or, what? I don't know why Martin came in my head, but you know, anything just light and jovial and, you know, to kind of lighten the mood versus kind of like, let me ask this question. What's your favorite color? Do you like pets? Do you like kids? Like all those type of things to just kind of make it natural versus forced. So I understand what Kirsten was saying. She says she wants their conversation to be natural and relaxed versus kind of like more forced. So Eris and Jasmine are playing frisbee, and Jasmine, and he believes that he has Jasmine parents in his palm in his hands. But this Eris, please believe this is a close family, and any indication they get that you're doing their daughter wrong or their sister wrong, they're gonna flip on you. So they're being accommodating towards you and they're being welcoming towards you. But at the end of the day, if they find out that you giving Jasmine any kind of issues, you're gonna see the wrath of them. Please believe that because they're close. Eris then tells Jasmine that he's never been in love. So Jasmine fears that he may be going through the motions and with their relationship because he was in a relationship for a year and a half or 2 years and to never have been in love and to be in a marriage with her after, you know, when it gets to decision day, you know, is he going to have any feelings for her? So Jasmine, don't even worry about that. Sometimes I feel like people put all this pressure on being in love and all that kind of stuff. And Eris says, well, I've loved people, you know, but I don't know if I felt googly eyes and stuff. And I was like, I don't think it's that deep when you're trying to, you know, say like in love is like googly eyes. And I think that's more puppy love, in my opinion. To be in love with someone is like, you know, that person is like embedded in you. Like they take up space in your heart. Like you don't want them to be hurt. You know, you want them, you don't, it's kind of like the Bible said, you don't have record of wrongs. Like it's like I said, when I knew my husband was my best friend, but you know, I really knew that I was in love with him, you know, when I would think about like, you know, what does he need? You know, you know, like my heart would hurt when he hurt. Like I really, you know, I was conscious of what he needed and, you know, wanted to be there for him and really cared about him. If he didn't feel good, you know, I wasn't right unless he was right, you know, so you know, I was his support system. You know, if I don't care if anybody, family, whoever, like I was protective over him. You know, I couldn't beat people up, but you know, I would kind of be very cognizant of the people who are around him because he has such a big heart and did not want him to be taken advantage of. And so I just really, really loved him. And I think that it wasn't like googly eyes, like every time he walked in the room, I got butterflies. It's just, I was very intentional about him and I wanted him to be good. And I loved him, you know, with every fiber, everything that was in me. So I think that to get to that point, Eris, it has to grow. We didn't start out that way. It gets to that point where, you know, you become intertwined into each other. So when he passed, I literally felt like a piece of my heart was gone. And it's taken a while to build that heart back up, to build that space back up. But it literally felt like a piece of my heart was gone. So it builds up to that. It doesn't start out like that. It starts out with a connection and it grows from there. And it grows, especially when you both are intentional about each other. So that's my gist or my spiel on being in love. And I think people are putting 20 on 10 about, I've never been in love before. You were not intentional enough to even get to that point with someone. And that could be, you don't want people to get into your space. You don't want to be vulnerable with people. And that could be the issue. And we all know that Eris's dad, you know, left him when he was really, really young. So a lot of that time, maturity doesn't, you know, it doesn't grow, doesn't allow you to grow when something that traumatic happens when you're young, and you don't have someone like a male figure to help you navigate those waters and to show what it looks to be vulnerable and that it's okay to be vulnerable. So, and then to lose someone like that, sometimes you don't want to get vulnerable with people because I can't stand to go through that again. So it's a lot of things that come in play. And Eris, you said you're in therapy. I hope you're really in therapy. But that's the episode. Like I said, I had certain thoughts on it. And about what happened. It wasn't, I would probably rate this maybe a good 6.5. It wasn't, anything big. But we're going to see on the next episode. I think it might be a little bit more fireworks. But again, if you made it this far, you like what I had to say, you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, join my tribe, and also share my videos, get me in this algorithm so we can, so I can get more videos out to you, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified about all of my uploads. It's been real. See you when I see y'all in the next video. Peace.